In Inazuma City, the general of the Tenryou Commission is a figure known to all. Those formidable enough to meet Kujou Sara on the battlefield describe her as a Tengu warrior with wings as dark as a raven. Ruthless and stern on the outside, but seems to possess a soft spot within. She brings pride and honor to her clan, as well as loyalty and heroism to her troops. Being a fine general and the soul of her army, one should be careful when dealing with her.
I am Kujou Sara. You may forget my name, but this you must know. On my watch, Inazuma will always be defended, and the will of the Shogun will always be done.
As a master of the Inazuman Tengu archery, Kujou Sara has honed her skills to the pinnacle of proficiency. She combines her skill with her decisiveness to lead her troops in battle and defend her almighty Shogun from anyone who plans to overthrow her rule. Hey guys, I'm Clementine, and welcome back for another Genshin Impact lore video. In this episode, we are going to share the story of the Crowfeather Kaburaya of the Kujou Clan. It is no doubt that every soldier in Inazuma has heard about her, and her unmatched loyalty to the Raiden Shogun. They also know that she is a character who brings discipline and all-fighting spirit to the battlefield. As we begin, let us first explore her past and how she came to be a general of the Tenryou Commission. Sara was born without a name nor a surname. Though now an adopted daughter of their clan, she originally lived in a quiet mountain forest. From a time unknown, her home became threatened by a great evil that robbed it of its former peace. Even with the strength of the Tengu, she hasn't got the experience and numbers that could help her stand against the monsters. During the battle, she was hurled from a cliff, damaging her wings. When she finally hit rock bottom, she lost hope and seemed fated to her death. No one is sure who was the first to notice, but when the sun rose and shone across Inazuma, some passersby discovered her unconscious by the side of the road. Quite mysterious that a girl ended up here, with no wound marks and little knowledge of where she also is. Confounded with this discovery, they brought her back to the city and introduced her to the Tenryou Commission. As this young girl was met with an audience, the head of the Kujou Clan, Kujou Takayuki, noticed in her arms an interesting object that is desired by many, a vision. Kujou Takayuki decided to adopt her and give her the name Sara. He believed that Sara was a gift sent to them by the heavens and that she was destined for greater things to come. In her early days with the Kujou Clan, Takayuki began training her and asking her to serve and protect the almighty Shogun and her nation of Inazuma. Already at a young age, she would rise through the ranks and become a general of the Tenryou Commission. In the blink of an eye, she has been given the power that sustained her life. One could say that everything she now had was because of the Shogun's grace. Looking back at the time she was given her vision, she believed that fighting for the Shogun was not just because it is her duty, nor her foster father's will, but because this was her truest calling. Given the Shogunate's present state, it should be accustomed that its generals match its scale of bringing peace back to the nation. As such, the Shogun's army should thank Kujou Sara in large part for bringing fearlessness and unity among its ranks. Unlike most generals who prefer to sit back as their troops fight on the battlefield, Sara prefers to do such things herself, leading the troops with her inspiring fighting spirit and heroism. She has always been at the offensive and trying to break an enemy's first line of defense. After each battle, Sara will personally see to her wounded comrades and give them a reward or punishment based on merit. As the war wages on and the count of battles add up, Sara's hands are managed well, with few errors now committed on the field. Her troops are all witnesses to her courageous words and deeds, and all who have fought alongside her hold her in the highest regard. It is also said that the general is the soul of an army, and fine generals are hard to find. Who better a fine general than Kujou Sara herself, surveying the battle lines, setting up training plans, selecting the best weapons and armor for her troops. It is no wonder then that Sara is and has always been the soul and pride of the Shogun's army. When it comes to Inazuma's Vision Hunt decree, Kujou Sara is the main enforcer and assists the Shogun in her pursuit for eternity. However, despite her fierce actions to bring this decree into effect, she gets troubled when she would see officers of the Shogun's army abuse their authority and give out harsh punishments to their detainees. She believes that, even though the Raiden Shogun's decree must be executed, she will not allow any violence against the innocent. She has expressly forbidden such actions, trying to expend the utmost patience and sincerity to explain that such evil deeds will only drag the name of the almighty Shogun through the mud. Despite such efforts, it seems that the vast ideals of an Archon are too great for mortals to grasp. As for the rebels, her attempts to explain the Shogun's long-term goals to them have also failed, as resentment rise nonetheless. With this, Kujou Sara has no choice but to take action and do things herself. In such circumstances of fighting the rebels, Sara often sighs helplessly before facing the enemy. Even though Sara is an accomplished general and brings honor to her clan, her foster father, Kujou Takayuki, does not look at her the same way he looks at her legitimate brother, Kujou Kamaji. Even though she appears unemotional and smiles less, she can also feel lonely and feels lonelier when she sees one of her soldiers sharing an intimate moment with their family. As an adopted daughter of the Kujou Clan, she is grateful to her father for filling in the empty void that was left when her home got destroyed. However, she still felt that something was missing, but after finding something that wasn't there in the first place, she decided to keep it to herself and continue with her normal life. As a general of the Tenryou Commission, Sara sets a good example for her troops, showing discipline and determination not only in leading, but in training as well. Sara is very harsh on herself during training, with her personal regimen being over 10 times tougher than that which the ordinary troops go through. Even when night has fallen and the world has gone to sleep, one can still hear the sounds of her bow being drawn, echoing through the dojo. However, in her early days of training with the Shogun's army, she was much more different from how she is now. She used to be more relaxed and friendly with her colleagues. In her heyday, due to her coming to train at an early age, the soldiers actually thought that she was a boy at first. Thus, they took care of her very well. Because of this warm welcome, she met new soldiers and even played games with them. However, discipline was a must-trait for troops getting ready for war. So, as a result of slacking off and playing games, Sara and her friends were punished. The soldiers she played alongside were severely punished by the clan head, while she was merely given a scolding. In her foster father's words, "Not following military law and neglecting your training, I did not take you in just to have you do such pointless things." Since then, Sara would be more careful and began to maintain a certain distance from others. Rather than fitting in with the rest of the soldiers, she sought to become greater and exceed her comrades, bearing in mind at all times that she would someday take command. The Raiden Shogun's helper, an example to the Tenryou Commission, the pride of the clan head. None of these three identities put her first in any way, but to Sara, this was her. She then began to follow a strict nature in her daily life, living with discipline, following a certain time and routine, training each day with her bow. Such is an admirable feat to maintain. To this day, Not a moment goes by without bow exercises and target practice. From adopting the stance to aiming, to hearing the twang of the bowstring, none of this is dry and repetitive for Kujou Sara, because she believes it is a lifelong discipline. Even when she is not training, Sara brings her strict routine into her daily life. Her life is set to follow some sort of eternal, unchanging rule. It seems that her favorite number is the number 5, because when describing her routine, she gets out of bed at 5:05 a.m., goes to the courtyard taking 5 deep breaths before walking 5 laps around, and eats 5 mouthfuls for breakfast. When asked, it is because she likes to do things in fives, from things as large as training regimens to things as small as food consumption. Sara has done this and pursues her self-created standards to the last letter. Despite living most of her life with humans, Sara still preserves several habits of the Tengu. Whenever she leaves the Tenryou Commission headquarters on occasion, it is mostly to go to the mountains and find a quiet spot to train. She still remembers her time in the mountains, thus when navigating through, she knows them like the back of her hand. Because of her time living with the Tengu, she has witnessed many strange creatures not often told of in human tales. Among them are many fierce and evil things, but there are also little creatures that mean no harm. However, to Sara, these are just differences in form. During one time, a number of robberies were reported to the police station numerous times, but they could not find the culprit. Walking through the woods on higher alert than usual, Sara caught sight of a cluster of bakidanoki running along hurriedly while carrying their plunder. Of course, bakidanoki are not evil by nature, but only steal food out of gluttony. As she seized their stolen goods, Sara had only this to say: "Hiding in the mountains will not let you escape judgment. Listen closely, for this is your final warning. Do not make yourself a nuisance to civilians again, or else." When Sara finished her sentence, the bakidanoki were chilled to the bone, nodding as they balled up in a corner. After this, they would keep to that agreement, but seeing that the bakidanoki only did that to feed themselves, Sara felt pity. From that moment on, whenever she would go to the mountains again, she would bring various fruits and deposited them in the bakidanoki's dwelling whenever she passed through. She did not explain herself, and in any case, did not consider this as any sort of gift. If she had to describe it, then perhaps a sort of consolation to those who have turned from an unrighteous path might be the best description for such things. The people of Inazuma are said to value their Raiden Shogun and thus worship and show their love for their Archon. As such, many merchants have created and sold artwork related to her, and the most popular product among them is the statue of Her Excellency, the Almighty Narukami Ogosho, God of Thunder. Described as a lacquer carving, its design was made similar to the Electro Archon's image. When it first went on the market, who would have guessed that Sara was the first in line to purchase the statue? Following her fixed routine of waking up at 5:05 a.m., we can imagine that she immediately raced off to the store and waited for it to open. Seeing this, many people gossiped among themselves, which became something of a hot topic for a while. When asked, Sara would refuse to acknowledge such stories. From her perspective, she bought that item because of her love for the Shogun. In all matters related to her Archon, she had never once shown any disloyalty nor negligent act. Still, she went forth personally to select and purchase a statue, and even personally prepared a shrine in her home where it will be kept when she returns. She bought 5 statues and placed them in specially made display cases, and would clean them whenever she returned home. If she is away from home, she would order her servants to clean them instead. To someone like Sara who has no friends and who is too busy with her job, the Raiden Shogun is not just any god, but also her idea of peace and repose. One can say that her love for the Raiden Shogun is the same as Kuching for Morax. The intricately made Archon statue makes Sara feel like the almighty Shogun is not far off in her Tenshukaku, but is a wisdom, an ideal, a strength of heart that supports her every step of the way. She described these moments of tranquility as her indescribable enjoyment. In her words, the Shogun is my will, my future, my strength, and even the harbinger of my fate, which is the confluence of all that is noble. My adherence is one born out of recognition and trust. For Kujou Sara, helping the almighty Shogun to achieve eternity is a paramount goal. She knows that she herself may not be there in the end, but she devotes herself to this mission all the same. Victory will belong to all of us, even if I'm not the last person remaining on the battlefield. If people could have only one wish, this would be Kujou Sara's. Concealed beneath her icy exterior is a heart that pounds like thunder, where passionate flames burn in secret. Sara's constellation is named Flabellum, where it was inspired by a ceremonial fan typically used by Christian priests and made from various materials such as feathers. The Japanese name of her constellation, Hauchiwa, is in reference to the Tengu's magical feather fan, called Tengu no Uchiwa. We can see Sara using this feather fan in her character art, and this fan usually has the ability to stir up great winds. The term Tengu is the Japanese word for heavenly sentinel, and they are a type of legendary creatures found in Japanese folk religion. They were originally thought to take the forms of birds of prey, and they are traditionally depicted with both human and avian characteristics. Like the kitsune and tanuki, the Tengu started out as an animal, but its evolution has taken more twists and turns. And like the kitsune's connection to Shinto, it has a close relationship to another Japanese religion, Buddhism. The relationship is not a happy one though, as the Tengu are sworn enemies of the Buddhist faith, and much of their history has been spent trying to lure people off the road of enlightenment. The Tengu are more like minor gods than other trickster supernatural beings, and they expect people to treat them as such. Sara is described being a Tengu, which is why we can see her having black wings and a mask that has a long nose. It is likely that her mask was based on the Dai Tengu or Great Tengu. When we say Tengu nowadays, this is the one we mean, where it is usually represented as a bright red, long-nosed mask. As for her clan name Kujou, is most likely inspired by the Kujou family, one of the 5 noblest aristocratic families in Japan. The Kujou clan was one of the 5 families from which the regent to the emperor could be chosen. From the 9th to the 19th centuries, except a few rare cases, only the heads of these 5 families were conventionally entitled to be the regent and chief advisor of an emperor. These 5 families were later known as the 5 regent houses, or Goseki. The crest on Sara's chest and sleeve also resembles that of the Kujumon, just flipped vertically. For the last part, let me share you some fun facts about Kujou Sara. Now, as General Goro is to Sangonomiya Kokomi, as she is to the Raiden Shogun, they are both fiercely loyal and have great respect for their chosen leader. Finding it a shame that they are on opposing sides, she is still glad to have an admirable foe. Especially it's a coincidence that Goro is the 5th born son of their family. The fun fact about this is that it aligns with her favorite number 5, and that the name Goro is of Japanese origin, which means 5th son. The next one is that Kujou Sara once planned to visit Ayaka in their estate. Having been used to the sounds of soldiers training in their household, she wanted a change in scenery. In the Kamisato household, there is the sound of music, dance, bickering, and laughter. To Sara, this sounds like a lot of fun, especially when she learned that Ayaka is skilled with the game of Go. Unfortunately, she never visited Ayaka because of her worry that someone of a serious demeanor like herself would not fit there. When we head over to the bulletin board near the lower part of the city, we can read a person trying to pick a fight with Sara. Aratake Ito was his name, and although he did not specifically mention Sara's name, it was implied that someone from the Kujou Clan took his vision. As a result, he wanted to get his revenge and decided to fight them head-on. And that's it. Now I want to hear from you guys from the comments. Let me know what you think about Sara as a character, or how her skills help certain teams in their gameplay. Will we be seeing her in a hangout or story quest anytime soon? Share your thoughts down below. So now, if you enjoyed Genshin Impact content like this, be sure to check out our other stuff, including interesting facts for Genshin characters and lore videos. Now for everything else, I'm Clementine. Stay tuned and be safe.